Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Wednesday, post-election day. And forgive me if this video is not as prepared or polished or it's a little off the cuff. Yeah, I know a lot of us are taking in the whole election results and things like that. And I felt the need to share this because, one, I have been thinking about some things, good portion of the day. I'm actually getting over being sick last few days, feeling better kind of physically, but didn't get much sleep last night. 3 o'clock in the morning, just was, seeing how the results were going. It wasn't looking like it was going in the direction that I was hoping for. So tossed and, watched a little bit of Fahrenheit 11/9. Thank you, Michael Moore, to kind of get my mind onto something else. But then going back to like, okay, what's it at now? And yeah, those last early morning hours were not fun. And by the time I saw like what the real projection was about to like be issued, I'd say around maybe 5, 6 in the morning, for about 2 hours, I was in tears. Like everything, sometimes things don't go the way you anticipated, but this one was like a dagger to the heart in a way. And just trying to process, what's just happened, what it could mean, gonna mean. Thinking about just history and everything that's been going on, the remarkableness of it, the challenges of it. So forgive me, but I wanted to share something because I was like, this is going to be on my mind for the rest of the day, if not a couple of days, and I want to just get something out. So like I said, I was really crying. I was like really getting to a kind of a deep cry. And I was like, okay, Freddie, you've got to stop crying. Like, as devastating as this can feel, I thought of one person that I needed to call and talk to. And I have an aunt who I talked to about a lot of historical things because she's older. And I just thought, like, I need to talk to one of my elders. And my aunt Willie, I will talk to about just different things going on in the world, history and culture things. And so I called her. It was about 8 o'clock. And actually, she asked me, how are you doing? And I was still kind of on crying. I was like, couldn't say anything. And she's very civic minded. I know she's been volunteering. She's from Texas. And she understood. And kind of don't know what direction to even go in with what I shared. I won't tell you a lot about our conversation, but I told her, like, one of the reasons why I felt the need to talk to her, as I mentioned my elders, history is very important to me. Sorry, I'm getting teary right now. And when I think of like what I've been afforded from the people who fought and died from my past, my grandparents, great-grandparents, all of them, what they went through, I wanted to talk to someone who was an elder who has been through more and can kind of give me a perspective, because I really was feeling a little hopeless, very hurt, still feeling hurt, but I was like, a lot of us, we have to heal. We got to get through what just happened. And how do we do that? How do I process that? So talking to someone who can give you different perspective. Like I said, I thought to talk to her. And I one of the things we talked about, because I just like couldn't believe like where we are in history, where I thought we had come, just because we had elected a black male president. I knew that there's still racism, there's still sexism. I think one of the hardest things for me has been that it's one thing to have a person who has made these comments and said racist and things that are really just kind of anti-human, but even more so that more than half this country, or the voting population, that's who they're aligning themselves with. So I kind of had a hard time with that. Yeah, you know, what's in the world is what's in the world, but thinking like, okay, we've progressed, we just kind of stepped back. How do you just accept that? How do you deal with that? How do you look at each other now and like, okay, but like I said, it's what it is, and it's more work that needs to happen in this country. I think the other thing that was really hard was that I wanted to get a perspective, is that I've been on this earth for over like 4 decades, and like I think I'm still kind of young, but my elders, they've been through more. Some of the hardest things that I've experienced, like we all went through 9/11. I saw Challenger explode, and those were devastating and shocking. But this felt like the worst, heart-wrenching, like, how did this happen? And again, this is just the last 48 years, 50 years. We've gone through worse. So talking to someone who's older, it's like, this is not the worst thing we've seen. So trying to look at it from that end, I actually asked her, I was like, how does this compare to the day that Dr. King was shot? Because I imagine that was hurtful as hell for a lot of African Americans. And I'm speaking from my perspective. I know like there's a lot of different people that, I'm speaking right now to you guys because I have the black female perspective. So that's one thing I just asked her, and she kind of didn't, it wasn't like a more or less hurt thing. Like she kind of vocalized that, different times, different things happen in that time, and they bring to light revelations or different things. So that kind of helped me to put a different perspective as climatic as this seemed for me in my lifetime, and something that seemed so abhorrent, so devastating, almost wrenching to the point like, where do we go from here? Like demoralizing. Our people have been through worse. So I think in order to try and heal and gain perspective and get okay, I had to start to look at this through that lens. So talking to her was really helpful. I mean, we both ended up crying at one point because we're just like, you like to think that we're able to be better and go further than this. Because I think a lot of this, like this election, like people talked about the issues, and I understand, or at least try to empathize with just people who did align themselves with Trump as far as like economy and different things as far as our beliefs. I think for me, one of the biggest things was really in line with humanity and who is acting more like, and giving to humanity and giving grace to us all. As someone who's a Christian, and I know there's a lot of people who aren't Christian, and I actually respect people of different religions, but as a Christian, and it's also interesting with this whole evangelical Christian thing that's been going on and backing Trump, who seems to represent what is Christ-like. And to see this happen is really kind of against what I would think is moving us forward as human beings and caring about each other. Like the whole name calling people bees, calling people trash, the demeaning things against immigrants and different, Puerto Ricans, Haitian, like all this just seemed really anti-human. And it's been hard for me to wrap my brain around people standing for someone who, or being behind someone who stands for that, who says these things. Or if he doesn't say it, people around him at his rallies are saying it. So, like I said, I can respect the outcome. This is a democracy. I like to think that people are going to take the high road, and like I said, this is the process that we have. However, in just recognizing what have we decided for this country. And I've thought about a lot of things. Like we talk about how forward moving we are. And I'm like, well, Mexico just elected a woman president. They did something that we call ourselves the top nation in the world, and we couldn't do something that they did. And arguably, like I said, there's a lot to that, but it is just certain things around humanity, racism, sexism, things that I feel like as human beings in this country need to address still. That's where I'm at with this right now. And I don't mean to be like daunting, so I kind of flip a little bit, because this morning we're all looking at social media, maybe not all of us, but some of us, and Van Jones, who's a correspondent, shared something. I kind of bullet pointed. He said it verbally. I think he shared it on social media, and he said that he was thinking of people like, for example, African-American women who having their dreams crushed, trading in a lot of hope for a lot of hurt. They were hoping that maybe, just maybe, that one of their own would be worthy. And once again, they were faced with rejection. And again, as being an African-American woman, that spoke to me. There were some interesting comments. Some people, I'm just going to say, some of our fellow humans, y'all could be very cruel. Sometimes, and granted, I consider myself, it's like I'm a realist, but I lean towards optimism and idealism to some extent. Like, you want to have an ideal. We talk about American dream. You want to believe in that and think that that's possible. But you also look at the reality of what's going on. Not everybody's achieving that and the like. So ideally, it's like, okay, even if you were for Trump or whatever, some of the things, there's something as simple as commenting on certain things. If it's not going to be forward moving, why are we even commenting? Unless you're really thinking like criticism is a good thing. If you really think criticism is meant to help people be better. But anyway, I'm not going to spend too much time on the comment. But one of the comments that was on his post was a woman who said that she was incredibly sad. This was the saddest part, that she had faith and she believed and had hope. It's excruciating. I have lost it all. And what I've lost most is my spiritual faith. I will never believe in the greater good ever again. I will never believe in sort of God, universe, or higher spiritual power ever. I'm done. I'm always believed love wins. Always. And it's not the case. Hate wins. My whole entire existence has changed and I'm devastated. I'm trying to wrap my brain around it all, and it's worse than my parents dying. The overwhelming feeling of loss is beyond anything I've experienced. I'm done. There's a Hail Mary out there. I'll keep it tucked away, but this has changed me and it's not for the better. So I'm getting teary-eyed because I kind of understand where she's at, because as devastated as I felt, I was like, God, what's going on here? What are you doing here? Because, and I'm going to pray for this woman, because to see that something like what has happened in the last day or month, to be crushed at this level where this puts her faith in love and God and things that are possible, it's changed her. That's scary. And that's probably where a lot of people are, or a lot of people have been, especially those who've been spewing hate for a while now. Excuse me. Um, so I say this, I share this all, one, not just for me to get some things out about how I'm feeling, and I can imagine maybe a lot of other people feeling, so that you guys know you're not alone, though I know a lot of people probably already realize that there's a lot of people just taking this all in. I think right now it's okay to take time to process and heal, and I encourage that for us all, whether or not the outcome was what we wanted or not, but in particular because those who probably the outcome was what they wanted, they probably not feel like they need to heal. But for those that are questioning everything from, why vote, why do this didn't happen, I will say that I had another phone call where I was just sharing a few things about how I was feeling, and he pointed out like my optimism, and he's like, I hope you never lose your optimism, because it's refreshing, and just because they used the analogy, like as I train for triathlons, I train and I do everything, and let's say I get third place. Just because I didn't win doesn't mean that what I did wasn't worth it. And I'm glad he shared this with me, because it made me really feel better, because I'm like, yeah, whether you just voted, whether, you had conversations with people, where you out there on the ground, whatever you did, that's still value. Even if we didn't get the results that you wanted, that what you did something. Like, and I really had to think about, like, for those of us that voted for Kamala, in 100 days, look at what was accomplished. Like, that was unbelievable. And so I hope that helps make us feel a little better, even at this moment of just shock and taking this in. And I think I'll end with one thing, just because, like I said, this can be very faith shocking. And I mean, as I was talking to my aunt, we acknowledge, like, we need to do some spiritual replenishment right about now, because this does not feel good. And I'm often one person, like, honestly, I've prayed for both candidates. I've prayed for Trump in particular, because there are things that I'm like, God, work on people, because some of the things this does not seem right to me. And they say, pray for your enemies, pray for your friends, pray for people who are down and against you. You can sit there and attack them and all you want, but we don't need more attacks right about now. So I will share one thing that there's two, for those who, whether you're Christian or not, there's a scripture, Ecclesiastes 3, that speaks to there being a time for everything. There's a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to uproot, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to tear down, and a time to build, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search, and a time to give up, a time to keep, and a time to throw away, a time to tear, and a time to mend, a time to be silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time for war, and a time for peace. So I'm going to hold on to that and be mindful of the time that we're in right now, and that there's a purpose to it all, which leads to me to another one that I often state, because when I don't understand things, I always say, it's Isaiah 55, 8, 9, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares God. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. I'm going to end with that and wish everybody a blessed